So this first episode of Nerd Talk with Shayne and Company is a very fascinating episode, and I'm very excited to share this episode with you. The first episode is about a drag performer by the name of Nikole Grace here in Cookeville. I found Nikole to be a very fascinating person because when Nikole is not in drag, goes by Tyler, but when he is in drag, goes by Nikole, and they're totally polar opposite people. And so I found it very fascinating, and I was very glad, and I was actually very surprised on how open Tyler was with me, and about his drag persona, about what influences that, and also the things that he's done. And so this is a very fascinating experience. So this first episode is kind of crude, like any other episode. But I'm excited about it. I want us to take this journey together. No, I'm not in the episode per se, but I kind of did it like kind of behind the scenes. I wanted to do it like a VH1 behind the music type thing. I don't know. But this is the first episode of Nerd Talk with Shayne and Company, and so I'm very excited. So let's get started.
A little bit about myself is I was raised in a small town in Alabama. I moved to Nashville to go to school and went to a gay bar in Nashville and saw performers.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did, I was like, oh my God, that's something that I want to get into.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing drag for going on 9 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. I travel, and I love every minute of that.
So you started doing drag. When did you start doing drag?
8 years ago. So I was 22, 23 at the time.
And that was, you said you went to school in Nashville. That was your first exposure to drag culture in general. Did you have any did you know anything about drag before you went and saw a drag show for the first time?
Well, I knew who RuPaul was, but who doesn't know who RuPaul is?
Right.
So, no, that was actually the very first time I ever saw or met any drag performer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know a lot of entertainers, but that was the very first time I ever saw drag.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so crazy to see the transformation from male to female or female to male or
mm-hmm.
transgender.
Right. How did you come up with the personality for Nikole Grace? How did that come about?
I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, I want to be something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the bubbly personality, the crazy, not shy, go up to everybody and talk to them, have a good night, and just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I do. Different
mm-hmm.
from night and day.
Right. So what influences have you had? What was your earliest influence when you first started doing drag? What was your first influence?
Oh, God. Well, my first influence was trying to be a female.
Mm-hmm.
And that did not work out because I used my real eyebrows and I painted like a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I used girl makeup. And
mm-hmm.
for stage, girl makeup does not work.
Mm-hmm. So when picking your look, your makeup look, did you model your makeup look after any other performers? Did you think, okay, well, this is the look I want to go for. It's a unique look. How did you model your look?
So growing up in the drag industry,
mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of entertainers influence me throughout the years. And I've always watched others perform and also do their makeup. And the first one was Ashley West.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved the way that she did her makeup. And then I took Summer Star has painted my face, so I took some of her ideas. I've took Babs Sinclair. I've took Jacqueline Madewell. I've taken China Charles. Facebook Live, people doing things like that. So it wasn't just one person that has helped me get to where my makeup is right now. Right? Me too. That is the most. If you don't have a good foundation and a good powder, that is going to be your downfall. You need good powder, good foundation, and the rest of my makeup is from wherever, Walmart. But a lot of my makeup does come from performance because it's a theater and it lasts longer.
So you literally learned the hard way on how to be a drag performer. Did you look for did you have like any cultural influences, like anybody famous in particular that you tried to model yourself after in those early days?
Famous?
Mm-hmm.
Not really, because me, I want to be unique. I want to be myself. I don't want to follow someone. I mean, there's a lot of people who have paved the way for all of us, but nobody famous that I want to be like, because I want to be myself and be true to me.
So when you're out there performing, what are you perform a lot of different pop songs, obviously.
Yes.
Do you try to embody what the artist intended that song to be, or do you put your own spin on it and try and do your own unique thing?
Depending on the song, if it's a ballad like Whitney Houston, I'll Always Love You, or something like that, I myself try to think of what were they trying to say, because you want to captivate the audience and not bore them. But with pop songs, I do a lot of dancing, so I just do my own thing. I don't try to imitate or try to be like them. By no means.
So my next question: you said you started out in Nashville, correct? What brought you to Cookeville?
I was dating a guy who was from Cookeville, and I went to Forbidden, at used to be a local club here, and I watched Katie Love, Scarlett, Justin Bale, Summer Star perform, and I was like, well, let me try it out. So Forbidden was the very first club I performed at, and I did open stage there, and that was the end. I was hooked.
You were hooked.
Yeah.
How many? So you've performed in Cookeville. So how long have you been performing in Cookeville?
Well, I've been performing in Cookeville for about 8 years.
About 8 years.
That's where my career started.
You've traveled all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Where all have you traveled?
I've traveled to Kentucky. I've done Louisville, Kentucky. At the Bar Complex, I have performed in many places in Kentucky, just restaurants that people let us do shows at. Nashville, Hendersonville, Hermitage. Here in Cookeville, I've performed in Alabama. So my next goal is to make it to Illinois, Ohio.
So you want to branch more out into the Midwest, and you've already done the Southeast.
Yeah.
You've had your tour of the Southeast.
Yeah.
You want to go up north. So what are some things that influenced you overall? You in general. What did you grow up watching Disney movies? Did you have like an inclination like, okay, I want to be a performer someday?
Right. For me, I've always loved performing, entertaining, getting out there and dancing in heels. I've always had that. mindset of, well, if I can do it and make some money, well, why not? So there's been people in my life that has influenced me through that, but it was, growing up was hard because I wanted to be the girl or performing.
Right. A big major thing that happened to you last year was you were participated in a protest up in Portland, Tennessee. There's actually a famous photo of you performing in drag out front in front of the city hall there in Portland, and by the way, that will be in the video. What drew you to that protest? What caused you? How did you get involved in it in the first place?
Okay, so I also work with a company called Elite Productions, but now they're Elite Entertainment.
Okay.
Elite Productions we would go to Envy, and they are a restaurant bar, and they host karaoke, they host things like that. Well, they thought, well, let's bring drag and see how that works. Well, the city had a ruckus about it, and they did not like it. And so me and the people who we thought was a good idea is to not fight with the city, just have a peaceful rally of why we should be in Portland. Not to influence anybody or anything, because you had to be 21 to get in. So we weren't influencing the children of anything or anything like that. So that's why we were there. That's why I did it.
So out of that experience, you actually spoke before the city council.
I did.
During the public comment section. Was you nervous? Did you feel emboldened by the counter protesters that were there protesting against you, that were in support of this ordinance?
Well, I was actually not even going to speak.
Okay.
At the council.
Okay.
And the reason why is because there was so many people there, and I knew if I got on camera, I would say things that would make people think. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to say things and hit home. And
you did it in full drag, too.
I was in complete drag when I did it. Heels, the whole 9 yards.
And it's actually really interesting, and there will be a link to it in that we'll edit that down. It'll be a part of a Patreon special. You were a part of that protest. How well received were you in Portland during that protest? Did people come up to you and say, "This is awesome what you're doing"? Did any of the counter protests say anything vile to you? What was the overall reactions of people up there?
I was very surprised at how many people came up to me and the people who own Elite and was like, "We're so glad you're here," because not only is our community, the LGBT plus, a big part of the culture. It's the things that people said to me, like, "We're so glad you're here," or nobody on the opposing side never came up to me, never said anything wrong. Yeah. They never.
It was, so you were surrounded with love, pretty much.
Right.
One of the things that really stuck out was that outfit. That is the outfit. How did you choose that outfit? Was it a spur of the moment? Did you want to say, I am here, I'm proud, and let me show myself off?
So when we arrived in Portland the very first time, we never came in with flags or anything like that. And there was rumor that we came in as loud as we could, had music blaring, and let our flags fly. And I was like, okay, let me get them. So I put a rainbow on. I have rainbow hair. everything rainbow.
I think that's our time.
No.
No. So you wanted to make a statement that day. You wanted to show that this is a place that's going to be accepting and tolerance. You said you were from a small town in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Did your upbringing affect? Has it molded you? Has it shaped you into the person you are? Would you feel like what you did in Portland, would you be able to take that back home to that small town in Alabama?
I could.
Mm-hmm.
I could take it back to the small town in Alabama. And the reason why is because when I go home, everybody knows who I am.
Right.
Everybody knows that I'm gay. I do
Mm-hmm.
drag. There's no backlash or anything like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
growing up, there was people who bullied me, but
Mm-hmm.
my family
Mm-hmm.
loves me for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to hide anything
Mm-hmm.
from them.
So the nerdy part of all of this. You've been in drag. You've dressed up as countless different caricatures.
Yes.
What is your overall favorite caricature that you've done over the years? What's your all-time favorite act that you've ever put on?
My favorite.
I know this is. I didn't say I was going to be Barbara Walters.
Right.
I had to throw that one in there.
My favorite act is probably the song "This Is Me."
This is me. Okay.
It's from The Greatest Showman.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song. It means a whole lot because I don't care what people are saying or doing or talking about. You're going to love me for me. And if you don't, that's your loss, not mine.
So you said that song has a major impact, and that song came out not too long ago. Did you go see the movie when it came out?
I actually did.
Okay.
I actually went about 4 times.
So you were. Did you mainly see it first for Hugh Jackman, or was it just because of the content of the musical?
I love musicals in general, but once I saw it, it wasn't for Hugh Jackman. It was actually for that
it would have been Hugh Jackman for me. I mean,
No.
come on. I'm just a hunk. I mean, just see him shirtless as Wolverine. So, but you said you like musicals in general. What is your all-time favorite musical?
My all-time favorite musical is Burlesque.
It's Burlesque.
Yes.
Did you perform in any musicals when you were in school? Did you?
No, we did not have drama.
Okay.
When I went to school. Our school was very small, and we didn't have the funds or show. We didn't have show choir. We didn't have drama.
You didn't have any of it. It was probably football.
Football, basketball.
Did you? When was the first time you ever watched a musical? When did you get exposed to? Musicals?
I was young. I was probably 6 or 7.
So it was
the original Hairspray.
Okay.
My mother was like, "Sit down, watch this." So that's when it all clicked. So did you grow up watching any of the Disney animated movies? Like, oh yeah, growing up, I watched Snow White. I watched all those because my mom loves my mom is a big kid just like me, so we would sit down and watch Disney movies throughout the day just because.
Who is the person you really want to perform? Who is the number one person you want to perform drag for? Who is that person? It could be a celebrity. It could be anybody in general.
So I have performed with countless of people, but the number one person I would want to perform with or perform for would be Kesha.
Okay.
And her song "Praying," it's crazy, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God!" When you do that, it brings me to tears because it's so powerful.
So now the next question. I know this is kind of out of order. Do you what is your current favorite song to listen to right now? What is your current favorite song to listen to right now? Oh,
I'm not eclectic in music, but I like a lot of different. So the song that it's just depending on what I'm doing. If I'm running, I want upbeat. at work, I want kind of slow
Mhm.
but upbeat.
And when you perform, you perform several times, whether it's here or it's in Timbuktu.
Mhm.
What are some things? What are your most memorable performances as Nikole Grace? What is some of your most memorable performances that you?
Most memorable. The the most memorable is when my mother came up to see me perform. I Turned to You by Christina Aguilera
Mhm.
for her, and that was one of them. The other one was my grandmother was passing away,
Mhm.
and I did Whitney Houston, I'll Always Love You.
Okay.
I do dedications. I've done countless, but my all-time number one is my mom
Okay.
coming to see me perform.
And so that's a big part of it.
Yeah, from them.
And you actually have a twin brother.
I do have a twin brother. He is also an entertainer,
Mhm.
but he does male lead.
Okay. And what is a male lead?
A male lead is somebody who dresses up as a guy
Mhm.
and does guy songs.
Okay, so it's a guy who dresses up as a guy, and they do gay, guy songs and they just don't want to get in the heels or anything.
Right.
And there's actually a photo of you two together in drag, and it's actually you can't tell who is who.
No, there's multiple pictures of us in drag.
Do you you're very close to your brother?
Yes.
Was he the first one? When you came out, did you tell him? Was he the first one to find out, or did he already know? Was he completely in the dark?
He probably knew, but he was not the first one I told.
Okay.
The very first one I told was my mother.
Was your mother?
Because I respect my mother so much, and I care what my mother thinks, and I still do.
Mm-hmm.
I still do to this day.
And was she supportive at that time?
Yeah, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
My whole family is. We love you. We support you, but respect.
Yeah,
respect.
So it's kind of like an unbroken bond, so to speak.
Yeah.
You had you've had a long track record here in town, and you've performed all over the place. Where is the one place you would want to perform at? Where is the number one spot you haven't performed at? Where would you? What? It could be a city. It could be a town. It could be at a bar mitzvah. I could see you performing at a bar mitzvah. I really can. I could just see you like, come here. What's the place you want to? What's the number one place you've always wanted to perform at? Whether you're in drag or whatever, where's that place?
The number one place I would want to perform at would be my hometown.
It would be your hometown.
To show everyone who bullied me as to don't let bullies get to you because the road isn't always paved. It has bumps, but we have to get up and keep going. And
do you happen to... Do you know that the biggest thing is empowering people? And you do that very well. Going back to the Portland protest for just a moment, there was a lot of kids there at the counter protest. Did you feel like you inspired them that day to be themselves, to embody whoever they are?
I hope so. And with Portland, there was a lot of kids, and even with Pride, there's still a lot of kids. And it's not us pushing our lifestyle on them. It's showing love, showing accepting of who they are and who they want to be. If they want to be a superhero, they'll be a superhero. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be, this is me.
Tyler, aka Nikole Grace, for doing this video with me. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also like us on Facebook, and also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, see you later. Bye-bye.